Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel V. Hill, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel V. Hill.
Thank goodness it is Friday, but also I cannot believe that the Super Bowl is only 2 days away. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the San Francisco 49ers, but while we're going to talk about the game and give our picks for the game, we have to have this discussion that we were having slightly before we got on camera here because my very own friend, Richie Carney over here, he thinks that he would rather lose to a different team. Like, I would rather lose. I need to make sure I phrase this correctly
let's set
before
the scene.
Everybody comes at me. We're having this conversation about your team losing in the playoffs, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I want my team to lose to whoever is going to win the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup or the NBA Finals or whatever. So I can say, hey, I lost to the champion this year. I didn't lose to Joe Schmo who lost in the next round. And Richie's over here telling me, no, I don't want them to win the title. And I said, no. I want you to defend yourself because there is only one right answer. And I'm sorry, my friend, it's not yours.
No, well, listen, I understand.
No.
It takes a more evolved plane of thought, I think. And let me explain why. Because that's actually not true. It's actually the most simple thing ever, which is the team that beats me, I don't want them to win a single thing.
But they beat you.
I understand. But from then forward, I don't want them to win a single thing. I would rather, if I get beat in the postseason.
Why? So you look more like an embarrassment?
No, because that's not how I look at it.
But that's how it is.
If I get beat in the postseason, I hope the team that beats me gets uncontrollable diarrhea before the next game and can't compete. Or the bus breaks down and they have to forfeit. I don't want them to win anything. Because if a team that beats you goes on to win the championship, that means to me that my team could have easily gone on to win the championship. That makes me feel worse. If the team that beats me loses in the next round, it's like, whatever. We probably would have lost to that team anyways. Or I'm just at a minimum happy that they didn't get anything. Because then two teams that are going to play for it that I didn't really care about.
So instead of losing to the team that won, you want to say...
What do you get out of losing to the team that won?
I probably would have lost to the team that won.
I'm saying you could go there.
No.
I'm saying you could go there.
I just got you in your own, and that's why you're smiling.
I know. That's why I tried to pivot it, because it's not what I meant to say. It's not what I meant to say.
So you just said... I wish there was a replay button and we could go back like 30 seconds in this instant.
Let me rephrase, because you're right. I said it wrong.
I'll give it to you.
I said it wrong, and that's why I tried to pivot. You could draw the conclusion that if the team that beats you gets blown out in the next round, like, we might not be able to win that game anyways. But how I would say it is not that way. I just want to make that clear. My main thought is I don't want the team that beats me to win anything. Because if the team that beats me loses in the next round, then the teams that play for the championship are teams that I'm dissociated from it. There's no connection to it. But again, do you think did you feel good when the Ravens beat the Broncos in 2012 and then went on
my birthday
to win the Super Bowl?
And I was at the game and I watched the ball.
Did it make you feel better that the Ravens went on to win the Super Bowl?
I was like, at least I lost to the champion.
No. It made me livid.
The champion.
It made me livid.
So
it was like that Broncos team was so good. We would have boat raced our way to the Super Bowl and we would have smacked San Francisco.
No. I need everybody in the comments to please tell us who you agree
with. It felt worse because they went on to win the Super Bowl. It made it worse for me.
No, because you're like, if we could have beat them, we possibly could have won the Super Bowl. Like, we could have been better than every other team.
But we didn't, and that makes it worse.
No,
it makes it worse because it shows you, it validates that the path to the when the team that beats you wins a championship, it validates the fact that your team's path to the championship was there, and you would have been them.
Nope.
You can just draw those lines.
I'm sorry,
that makes it worse.
Do you know what you sound like? You sound like Sean Payton on Up and Adams this morning, just trying to give something.
What's the question?
Just trying to. Well, of course, the hot topic is what's happening with Russell Wilson. Take a listen to this because it just made me laugh a little bit.
So Wilson, let's take a drink. Let's talk about the, not even the experience. How does the experience end, Coach?
How does it end? Fair question.
Let's just take a drink, Coach.
Yeah. What'd you think about your quarterback last season? Well, hold on.
Let me just take one drink real quick.
Yeah, no, that was it's.
All right.
What'd you say? What was it?
You have to know the tough questions going to come out. So of course he takes his drink, and then you could just tell he's like, I just really don't want to talk about this, but I know I have to talk about this because it's the hottest topic in sports right now. And then he goes on eventually to say they haven't even started looking at any sort of draft stuff. So any of the stuff you're hearing about what the Broncos are going to do, it's kind of all smoke at this point.
Good question. We start draft meetings Monday. So everything you've heard and read about us, we're going to trade up, trade down. I can't tell you the jersey numbers of these rookie quarterbacks. We haven't even seen them yet. So our plan to do this thing the right way is to really assess, hey, the quarterback position. Are we going to be able to find it in the draft? Are we going to find it in free agency, or is it in the building? I think that decision is going to happen quicker than later relative to Russ.
It makes me laugh because he's like, we haven't really talked about any of the quarterbacks. I don't know anything about
He just has that perfect cadence. No matter how relaxed and loose he is, he's got his shirt kind of undone all the way down. And, he's like moving his hands around, but he still has that same exact cadence of like, I don't even know the jersey numbers of these guys. And it's like, really?
Come on, coach.
Really? Like, you think I'm stupid? You're lying.
I find it fascinating. But then he's like, we'll see what's going to happen, that whole shindig. But at the exact same time, knowing it's going to be a quick decision with Russ tells us that come March, whatever day it's going to be, Russ is going to be gone out the door.
Yeah, I mean, as we've all speculated, as has been widely kind of reported that things might be heading in that direction, it's what should happen. It's what should happen. Really?
You have to pay him regardless. If you need a backup QB or a bridge QB for your quarterback, I got mad the other day when I was on with Mace, and I'm like, we're really talking about bringing in Jameis Winston or Jacoby Brissett to be the bridge quarterback when we have Russell Wilson, who we still have to pay the $80 million to? This is dumb.
But you have to pay dead money figures and guaranteed money to all kinds of positions across sports. So you're going to pay him $80 million.
I have a question.
What if you don't need your backup quarterback or a bridge quarterback? And you just paid Russell Wilson to sit on the bench.
You still have to pay him.
But you didn't use him. So what's the difference between having him sit on the bench and never be in a game, or just cutting him, bringing in a player that you might be able to use in a different way?
Like who? What? I mean, they have to go get a quarterback.
Yeah.
So you have to get a quarterback regardless.
And I'll be honest with you. Well, who are the two names you mentioned? Jacoby Brissett
or Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston. I bet you both of those guys could do.
They can sling it more than I bet Russ can.
Similar to what Russ did this past year.
But my thing is, you still have to pay Russ.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to go pay a Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're adding more onto your cap hell that you're already in.
But you're basically saying they should stay with something they know doesn't work.
If you need a bridge QB.
Or it's like stay unhappy because you can't afford to change. If you're in a wild card game, okay? Uh-huh.
And whoever your quarterback is going to be is going down, and you need a backup QB, would you rather have Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston out there?
Jameis Winston. Because
You're
I think
lying.
No.
You are lying
I'm
to
not.
my face right now.
Rachel, we were at all of those Broncos games this year. Russ did not operate that offense efficiently.
No, don't get me wrong.
He didn't. So if you're going to take, especially Jameis Winston, if you had thrown like Gardner Minshew, I probably still would have chose that. But Jameis Winston, who has shown that he can come in small stints and spurts and be
how many playoff
explosive.
games has Jameis Winston won?
That's a good question.
Let's look it up. Go ahead. Continue
Is it 0?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
I know he
0.
went 5-0 when Drew Brees went down under Sean Payton.
He is 0-1 in the playoffs.
0-1. I thought he had one game. I just couldn't remember when.
January 17th of 2021.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I maintain I would rather have Jameis Winston because I think Sean Payton knows how to coach Jameis Winston. I think Jameis Winston is
how much are you paying
to
Jameis Winston?
That's a good question. But the first number that jumped out in my head in terms of like a figure I'd be comfortable with paying him is maybe a smidge above Jarrett Stidham money. So what's $5 million for the year?
So
6.5.
You're paying Jarrett Stidham and Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Neither one of them are most likely going to be a quarterback next year. And everybody wants to bring in another QB to just add into the mix.
Well, yeah,
because to be a backup.
But yeah,
and I'm not talking about a starter. if you want to pay somebody to be your starter, like
Good starting quarterbacks don't always, how do we know Russ would be a good backup?
what's he gonna do?
I don't know. Did you see how pissed he was at the end of the year when he was outside his
I also saw
locker?
him slapping people and high-fiving people and giving Jared Stidham some information.
Yeah, that was over a 2-week span after he got benched between that and the end of the season when they weren't going to make the postseason. You're talking about doing this from the jump, from OTAs, mini camp, training camp, preseason, 17-game regular season. You think Russ is just going to be chipper dipper, happy to be the backup?
Does he have a choice?
He could leave. He could say, cut me.
And guess what? They're paying him the same amount of money regardless.
I know, which is why I think it's okay that they just move on from him. In fact, I don't think it's okay. I think it's necessary to move on from him. You have to cut ties with
it's like a bad breakup. I get it. It's a bad divorce at this point. It's a very bad divorce. That's why he shaved his head and he's clearly going
and Sean
through
Payton
something.
is coming into this new. He didn't cut that check for Russell Wilson. George Payton did. So Sean,
also, George Payton is out the door. I'm calling it right now.
When?
I'm saying right after the draft. He gone. See you later, George Payton. He's not out at the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl. You're gone. See ya.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
or they haven't started.
It is
up until Monday.
It is worth noting that like I feel like we as fans a lot of the time look at the sports calendar, the NFL calendar in terms of like the coaches and the players, but the front office's calendar is very different. So like it would be very unusual, I would say, for them to fire him before the draft at this point.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of working up to that. They're putting finishing touches on things and that. But like after the draft, where we start to think, hey, things are starting to ramp up, in terms of the coaching, the coaches off season, the players off season, theirs is kind of on a downtrod. So you could be right.
Yeah.
You could be right, but
I have a question. Do you think that Sean Payton's really good at bluffing? Do you think he honestly has no idea about any of these QBs?
No, I don't think he's good at. No, I was trying to figure out if there was like a wordsmithing way to do that. No, I don't think he's a good bluffer. I think that he is like he's got this kind of like self-confidence or arrogance about him that's like, I'm going to tell you something that is BS. And there's nothing you can do about it, and there's nothing you can say about it. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't even know the jersey numbers. It's like, you think Sean Payton became a Super Bowl one of 35 coaches to win a Super Bowl ever and has had the success that he's had being that kind of mindset guy? No chance.
Well, because this is fascinating, but Drew Brees was at the Super Bowl, and he ends up talking to some of the media, and they ask him about the situation at quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and he seems like he knows who's going to be Sean Payton's favorite. Take a listen.
Who do you think's out there that Sean Payton's going to – anybody on your radar that you go?
I could just tell.
I talked to Sean last week.
He already knows.
He told me he's got his eye on this guy. So go ahead, not trying to bullshit your way through this answer. Go ahead.
Exactly. I don't know. I think it's always there's always a shakeup.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, look, there's some talented guys in the draft.
There's some guys
this year, right?
out there. Right. Right.
Unfortunately, they traded quite a bit to get Russ in the first place, right? So if you're in a position where you love one of these guys and you're going to trade up, you have the assets
to make that move, right? Yeah.
And then what does that do to your roster moving forward? I think what I do know this, you really do have to build your team through the draft, right?
Right.
You can go out in free agency and you can get some core pieces, some core leadership pieces, some cultural pieces. But, man, if you're going to build your team within this cap system, you got to do it.
These two teams here, they built through the draft.
Exactly.
I mean, they got a little splash of free agency, but it's mostly draft guys.
How much do you miss playing?
First of all, can somebody tell me who Drew Brees' dermatologist is? Because his skin looks amazing.
Yeah, he's doing some things.
I'm like, you look fantastic.
He's probably got a little Botox in there.
But Drew Brees doesn't come across as somebody that's going to fib or anything of that nature. So the fact that he is looking at it and he's kind of like, oh, I know something that you don't know.
Yeah, no, somebody in the comments would probably know. I can't remember. There used to be a TV show on ABC or something like that, and it was about a guy who's like a behavioral psychologist, and he studies body language, and like these lawyers or the police department would hire him to read the body language of people to tell whether or not they were telling the truth.
Yeah.
It was like, Lie to Me. Lie to Me was the name of the show.
How fun would it be to get a lie detector test in here?
Yeah, we should do it.
We
should do it.
How much do you think it costs to rent one of those bad boys?
Because
Because you have to have the person that can like read
yes,
it too.
and it's like an archaic machine and all that. But
am I
all
your
that
favorite coworker, Richie?
Yes.
Oh, I think you're lying to me.
Twitch.
It's fine.
Twitch. No. But anyways, the whole premise of that was to say, if that guy was looking at Drew Brees, red flags would be popping up all over the place. First of all, anytime we've all done that, when somebody asks you a question that you're either not prepared for or you're like immediately uncomfortable with, what do you do?
Oh, yeah.
Laugh.
You just start to smile and you're like, oh.
I mean,
come on.
You know, he didn't have the Sean Payton like coffee cup. But he was definitely like, head down, chin tilt, and just kind of laughing. He's like, no, it's not, I mean, listen, there's so many. And that's the other thing. Half sentences, you're all choppy.
Yep.
They've talked. Does Drew Brees know exactly what the plan is and all that? No, because listen, Drew Brees is not affiliated with the organization, but we know Sean Payton likes to talk. And
you give him a cup of coffee.
Who's to say that he and Drew Brees didn't have a double latte phone call, just like Jarrett Bell? And we know that Sean Payton genuinely cares for Drew Brees. Like Sean Payton doesn't seem like he really loves anybody. He loves Drew Brees.
Yes,
he got emotional talking about Drew, in other settings once they kind of parted ways after retirement and all that.
Yeah.
So do I think that they've checked in? Do I think Sean Payton has touched base with Drew? Say, hey, what do you think about any of these guys? Just as a quarterback, as somebody who's played the position, get in their heads.
100%.
Sure. So, man, I mean, do I think that Drew Brees has the war room script? No, but I think he knows something.
Oh, 100%. I saw that clip and I was like, oh yeah, there's something. And then of course this morning we hear Sean being like, on Monday we're gonna go in and start the draft process.
It's gonna be the first time we've looked at it. Just so you know, I don't even know where the room is that we're meeting. I've never been in that building before.
Seriously, have you ever cut your hair for a girl? Or like post breakup, have you ever just changed something about yourself?
I never cut my hair.
You ever shaved your beard or like anything?
I don't think so.
I saw the clip. Russell Wilson was at the Kobe unveiling statue in Los Angeles, and he's rocking a buzz cut.
G.I. Russ.
And I was all, did not expect this one. And all I can think in the back of my head is like, yeah, the divorce is coming. All because he cut his hair.
Yeah, no, well, listen, it's far be it, I think, from Russ to like do trendy kind of things like that just because. But
is
again,
buzz cuts trendy?
I think anytime a guy like Russ or Sierra changes something in that vein, they're doing it for some sort of symbolic reason, whether it's to jump on board with something or to symbolize, I mean, we got Russell Wilson workout videos after the Hackett season, right? And it was
How could we ever forget
just
those
doing
videos?
silly like cable rotations and whatever. But so yeah, no, I think that means something new to him. If I was going to try to play armchair, coffee break psychologist, I would say that it's like, shave it fresh and begin anew. And it's like turning the page or, maybe he's going to go commando this season and, he's going to shave his head and it's going to be angry Russ. I don't know.
Angry Russell Wilson. I'd pay to see it actually.
Yeah, it's not believing it. It's like you better believe in it.
Exactly. I would pay to see it because we all know Russell Wilson is rather nice sometimes. That's why I want Baker Mayfield to be the next quarterback of the Denver Broncos. I want somebody who's going to throw it back at Sean Payton.
Somebody's got a little edge.
I just can't believe this is real side. The fact that he didn't go back and say anything to Sean Payton and he truthfully just took it. Or when like Mike Purcell was yelling at Russell Wilson and he just took it. I'm like, stand up for yourself. Just a smidge, Russ. I know you're such a good dude.
I feel like it's this never ending like paradox that we go back and forth with, right? Because it's like Russ you know what it is? It's like the nice guys finish last thing. Right? Like when you're looking for equality,
amazing.
Like when you're looking for equality, like in a partner, like if you're a woman and whatever, and it's like, like, oh, I want a guy that's sweet and it's sensitive and nice and all that. And it's like, but at the same time,
I want somebody that's going to punch you in the freaking
you kind of want a guy that you feel like you could if you walked into a bar, he could beat most of the people there in a fight.
100%.
Like maybe he drives a motorcycle, rides a motorcycle or,
mom loves him, but
Yeah, but he's like, you want a nice guy who's also kind of a bad boy. And that's it with Russ. Like, you can't have both. So like Russ isn't the kind of guy who's going to, start spit arguing back in Sean's face and poking his finger at him on the sideline and all that. He's just he's respectful. He's calm demeanored. That's not his style. He's Russ's take home to mom guy.
Russ's take home to mom guy. Honestly, good for Sierra too on that front. Sean Payton also on Up and Downs this morning says that he wishes the Lombardi Trophy was just one, like the Stanley Cup is. And I'm curious your thoughts on this. Do you like the history and everything behind the Stanley Cup? Because personally, I do, over the fact that there are multiple Lombardi trophies. Every team gets to keep it, yada, yada. I
love the history behind the Stanley Cup.
Me
I
too.
think that it's so cool. I think the engraving, I think it's I think it's the most fascinating trophy in major professional sports, especially here in the U.S., because you can't really replicate that kind of history. The names that get carved into it, the intricacy of the process. Part of me says, like I agree with Sean Payton that it should be just one, but you can't really model the Lombardi Trophy after the Stanley Cup because there's just so many more players. Like, what are you going to carve? 90 names every year plus coaches and all that stuff. Like, you can't just so I think symbolically speaking, broadly speaking, if there was like more specialty to the Lombardi Trophy, but in terms of mimicking the Stanley Cup, you can't.
Did you know there's 2 that go to every single Super Bowl? In case one disappears, they have a backup.
Yes, I did know that because
there's no keeper of the cup, apparently.
I want to say in the last 10 years, there was something that happened to one of them. Either they couldn't find it, as in somebody wheeled it into the wrong room and then they were looking for it and they couldn't find it, so they had to go to the backup.
Where's the keeper of the cup?
We've had incidents like Tampa Tom and Gronk tossing it to the boats and one gets dented, so they have the other one that they were using for appearances and stuff until it was so I did know that there was 2. And I felt like there was an incident where we had to, go to Plan B trophy.
Fascinating. Could you imagine if that happened with the Stanley Cup? Oh my gosh. I don't remember. It's like Mike Pritchett, I think, is in charge
I think that's the
Stanley Cup. He would literally have a heart attack. I can't even imagine. And he was so aware of where the cup was.
He's been a guest on radio shows and podcasts.
Yeah, he was on Coffee Break.
Fascinating.
Amazing.
Fascinating listen with all the stories he's heard.
Also, the fact that he is on commercial flights with the Stanley Cup.
Crazy.
We
fly these guys chartered all across the country, internationally now as the NFL continues to expand.
Carrying this giant cup.
He's got this body-sized duffel bag case trophy, and he's got to fly Southwest with me. He's B11 in my boarding group.
That would be such a fun in the sports office to just follow him around for just even one flight to see how many people are wait. That looks kind of familiar.
The things that he and that cup have seen and the places they've been.
Amazing.
Can't even imagine.
That summer would have been amazing. Last one. Who's your pick? The Super Bowl. 49ers, Chiefs. Who are you taking? You guys, I love the freaking Super Bowl. Let's go.
I'm taking the Chiefs because I am never going to bet. I'm never going to bet against Patrick Mahomes, period. But I will give you, if you needed more reason on how to pick.
Oh, you have a list.
Yeah.
Richie
well, have you heard about the Taylor Swift 13 conspiracy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And how it's the exact same thing as in 2020 and all the presidential election stuff is the same.
So,
it's a leap year.
So I saw this.
Shebang.
I'm gonna pull it up here really quick because I archived it for just this purpose because I didn't see this until it hit social media. But there are so many weird coincidences with the number insane. 13 that I hope I can find it. I can't,
it's actually insane.
If I can, we'll skip it. But yeah, just the amount of things that add up. Oh, here it is. Okay.
Oh gosh, I'm kind of nervous.
Taylor Swift was born on the 13th of December. Okay. She turned 13 on Friday the 13th. Her first album went gold in the U.S.
Hold on, real quick. The fact that Swifties know all of this stuff.
It's amazing.
Insane.
It's amazing. They're like the NSA.
Yeah, this is.
We
don't even need the government anymore. Just give it to Swifties.
If people just channeled a small fraction of the energy that Taylor Swift's fan base has toward their daily lives, we would have flying cars universally. Yeah. We would be living in the year 3000.
Okay, give it back to me.
Her first album went gold in the U.S. in 13 weeks. She just won her 13th her 13th Grammy.
Yep.
It's Super Bowl 58. 5 plus 8 is 13. She's been to 12 Chief games. The Super Bowl will be her 13th. The Niners are the 1 seed. The Chiefs are a 3 seed. I just literally held up 2 fingers. I messed that up. Chiefs versus 49ers. 4 plus 9 is 13. The Super Bowl's on 2/11. 11 plus 2 is 13. 100 minus 13 is what?
87.
What's Travis Kelce's number?
87.
They hold on. There's a whole list. The opposing quarterback, the quarterback of the opposing team in the Super Bowl, the 49ers, happens to wear number 13. She's also flying, allegedly, from Tokyo to Vegas, which is how long of a flight?
13 hours.
Just under 13 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just telling you, that's enough for me. I was already not going to do it because I believe in Patrick Mahomes and I'm never going to bet against him. And every time it's felt like everyone has wanted to count out the Chiefs. They don't have it. They're not the same. Here they are again. And I just feel like we're going to have another heartbreaking Kyle Shanahan moment where they get so close and they crumble right at the end.
Richie, you might have just changed my pick based on that alone.
The power of 13, the power of Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's like crazy.
Yeah.
That kind of scares me. I was taking the 49ers. I honestly might have just completely changed my entire pick.
And like I'll even frame it to you this way. Maybe this can help you.
Oh my gosh.
If the score at halftime is 20-3 49ers, are you calling game?
Oh, absolutely not.
If the score is 20-3 Chiefs at halftime, are you calling game?
Mm-mm.
Really? Because I might. I might.
No, I'm not going to. I think that it's going to be a really close Super Bowl. I'm really excited for the game and just in general. I'm excited for Usher to play the halftime show. It's supposed to be the longest
He's
halftime
got some
show.
Bangers.
Yeah. Oh, my favorite song ever. Yeah, by Usher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait till you
Timeless
see me
classic.
on my wedding night, everyone. Woo woo. Besides point. Wow. I think I might have to. Oh, dude,
Pick one.
Something about my gut though is just telling me that it's gonna be the 49ers. My head is all in on the Chiefs. Everything you just told me, 100% in on the Chiefs. But my gut is saying the 49ers, they didn't have a good practice. The fire alarms went off at their hotel. Like, just nothing has added up. And now I don't know.
And you know what?
I don't know.
I would be so happy for Kyle, for Christian, for John Lynch, for Greasy, who's on the coaching staff. I would be so happy. There's so many Broncos connections to the 49ers. I just can't bet against Mahomes ever. I won't do it.
And I've been saying that
as long as we both shall live.
I've been saying that the entire playoffs. Don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. So let us know in the comments who you guys are taking in the Super Bowl. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for it. The Super Bowl is one of those days, man. I'm just like, let's go. You get up, you turn on the TV immediately. You're watching all of the stories that come.
What's your go-to Super Bowl Sunday dish?
Like 7-layer dip.
7-layer dip?
Yeah, with green olives, not black olives.
Ooh, good call.
Yours?
I'm a wings guy. I just love wings, man.
I know. Always so good. Plus, it's just the day you can eat whatever. It's like the holidays, right? You can eat whatever the heck you want. You guys will be back Monday for another episode of Coffee Break. Come hang out with us. Who knows what we're going to be breaking down come Monday. Whether it's Sean Payton talking about something else or hopefully the Super Bowl and the 49ers win? Are we placing like a coffee bet maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Coffee bet.
You'll see it on Twitter. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye.